let's get the books out of the way.
Okay.
Like the actual shopping bag out of the way. One of these goes down here. Heads on over here. Hello.
We start.
Yeah, we start.
Single box.
Before we start off, this is going to be podcast 9. Podcast 8 ended abruptly because we were planning out a couple of things, sorting out a few clarifications, and
Podcast 8 was in the car, right?
yeah,
Right.
I was in the car. And this is our entire venue. This is actually in the library. This is on premise.
And we have the shelves behind the Secretary General as well. And you can
So that's something. By the way, congratulations, Mr. President. First, we got our 2021 Humanitarian Services Awards.
see. Should I vote on it?
Yay! Great
We
success.
have this one as well.
We got
For
this recently.
Secretary General and the President as well.
Secretary General and the President for Cultural and Social in Multan, and उसके अलावा हमारे 3 और सेंटर्स हैं. कौसे गज़ा के अलावा 2 और सेंटर्स हैं इन रावलपिंडी जिधर हमारे डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हुए थे ऑफ दीज बुक्स. मगर उसके अलावा वी हैव अ 2500 बुक स्ट्रॉन्ग सेंट्रल लाइब्रेरी इन रावलपिंडी इन वेस्टरिज, जहाँ पे जो पुरानी किताबें, ऑल बुक्स दैट वर पब्लिश्ड बिफोर 55, even books that were published in 2000, 2010 onwards, मगर किसी ने नहीं पढ़े, प्लास्टिक सील थे, वो हमारे संभाल के जो है ना इनको रखे हुए हैं. हमारे पास जो किताबें हैं they were all donated through a Quoth Foundation, through individual donors, through various जो हैं ये endeavors like a Quoth. and उसके अंदर हमने अपने लाइब्रेरी के अंदर इन सब को एक्सेस डेटाबेस बनाया हुआ है कि सब जो है ना वो पढ़ सकें. You can't issue them, मगर you can access them and read them while being in the library itself. Furthermore, TCA का
Great success.
Great success. We'll even add this photo over on our thing as well. There are a couple of elements that we have to, discuss out in the process of showing the books that we will be going through. So you start off with yours, I'll start off with mine. Morgan Stanley. The Dr. Morgan Stanley, the guy who said the phrase Dr. Livingston, I presume. So it's his entire story that's being told with all the major cast and crew and everything. And
And how we took over Congo and
he didn't take over Congo, that's King Leopold actually.
he was hired by King Leopold just to go to Africa. Dr. David Livingstone was just an excuse. He ended up capturing most of the place and enslaving people as well.
That definitely makes sense. I mean,
Dr. David Livingstone was actually quite happy when he was helping people out and practicing medicine.
so he was kind of like Richard Burton in that regard. Fascinating dude.
Made with people by Eileen Power, and it has 8 illustrations as well.
So we'll actually be covering this in one of our individual reviews. Be more gentle with it, brother. For God's sake,
I mean,
how rough could you get?
even hold of them. Show the illustrations yourself. Take
Wow.
another one. Then we have vintage video game.
Oh, this is actually fascinating. When we took a glimpse through this entire thing, it covered up till, when was this thing published? 2003. So it doesn't cover that era of Halo and everything. It covers up till 2000. So it does not even imagine how big of a cultural impact Halo would have. This is like, it did not even imagine that Halo would be kind of like a new doom setter. Dick Francis. We got plenty of Dick Francis books this time. We mentioned these, but this is from the Penguin 60s era.
I would have shared all at 1200.
Well, give this a read and then we'll get back to you. Or maybe he'll give it a read, who knows. So this is Tom Clancy, his book.
I was supposed to buy them, but I ended up giving it to the library.
So,
Not as a hostage, though.
oh, before we proceed over, we already talked about this book. This is by the president, so the president handed it over. Yay! Moving on.
Maureen Lee, I've never read Maureen Lee, maybe Secretary General or something.
We'll actually give this a book proper thing. Look, there were plenty of anthologies in Reader's Point, by the way. If you're willing to put in time, money, and effort, they come over. This. Oh, you go first.
Mordek Francis, the Secretary General told in there. It's about horseback and stuff.
Horseback racing and all that stuff. In fact, hold on.
It has illustrations.
It has illustrations as well. It's the personal story of a queen, but there was a lot of corruption in his day when all these were happening. Rizwana Zahid Ahmed. I mean, she was my Park Studies teacher when I was doing my O levels. She was a Probel's teacher actually. So definitely something to consider. Moving on. Sorry. Pixel. Rizwana Zahid. She was my Park Studies teacher back then. So.
City and the Stars by Arthur C. Clarke, the same guy who wrote 2001: Space Odyssey.
Among many other books. Roosevelt, in retrospect, about
The same war moment, president.
oh, it's FD, Franklin D. Roosevelt. This is his biography in essence, and definitely we are going to be covering it on one of these days.
More Dick Francis, more horse racing stuff.
Oh, The Naked and the Dead. I believe this was an Iron Maiden song as well, which was turned. So,
Iron Maiden references to a lot of literature stuff.
Second World War, Asian development era, all that crap.
More Dick Francis, proof. This one has bloodstain as a cover, as cover art. So I don't know what it's about.
Oh, it's still about
Horses.
horses.
Yeah.
Ralph Waldo. Oh, don't you have any other books?
No, I have.
Ralph Waldo Emerson, very gay, pretty much essays and poems that he actually wrote. Not that good a poet. I don't know why people like him, but he is referenced in Breaking Bad. So
More Arthur C. Clarke, Individual Earth, Science Fiction.
Dick Francis,
A lot of Dick Francis.
to the hilt. Definitely worth it though.
Edna O'Brien.
She also wrote She also wrote the. It's a novel by Edna O'Brien, but she also wrote Joyce's biography as well.
The High Road is also a song by Mastodon.
The Bear and the Dragon by Tom Clancy. His donation over to the TCA. So definitely something to consider.
Richard Ruffy.
The Adventure of God in His Search for the Black Girl. Oh, that is a very good title though. That is a very good title though, not gonna lie. That is legitimately a very good title. 17th century prose. So if you want to have very fancy, very prosaic representations, I'm actually keeping this. Hold on. I'm actually going to put this inside my... this is my desk, by the way. We upgraded the desk as well, so just so everyone knows, yeah, new upgrades made. So excuse me while I toss this in.
More Dick Francis. This is
Comeback?
paperback. This is a hard-bound book in perfect quality. And it has a flaming horse on it. Kind of reminds you of Ghost Rider, but yeah.
But Comeback? That's like... No Comeback is the name of the book written by... what was that? What was that asshole's name?
Not Dick Francis.
Yeah.
Dick Francis.
His name was what was that person's name? This author. He wrote The Hunt for Red October.
Or Tom Clancy.
I think it was either Tom Clancy or Frederick Forsyth, one of the two.
Tom Clancy wrote Hunt for Red October.
So yeah.
No, it was No Remorse.
Tilly Trotter, the omnibus. Again, one more omnibus added into the
There was a Harry
collection.
Potter parody called Barry Trotter once.
We have it.
Yeah, Barry Trotter.
We have Perry Trotter. Another Dick Francis book.
Nuclear
£10 penalty.
Holocaust and the Christian.
Though I got this, I intentionally got this because I wanted to see the controversial Christian right-wing era-specific books. Actually, we're just going to be pushing all these books. Actually, let's just put all these books over there.
We have more Dick Francis, Second Wind. I guess the people at the bookstore really like selling Dick Francis.
Or maybe someone had a Dick Francis collection.
All these people like reading him a lot.
They do. He has a pretty big following
In Pakistan?
in the UK. He's an English writer actually. Pretty important English writer.
We
of
have
these
The
days.
Nice and the Good with a very scandalous cover which looks like Egon Schiele's drawing.
But it's by Iris Murdoch. She's a pretty big name as far as the postmodern feminist literature is
a lot of
concerned.
books.
There are the books, and put this over there, and now we also toss this there as well. One more, haha!
Those are the books I was
We'll just toss them in over here, and
We talk about the sleazy titles as well.
oh my god, I completely forgot about the sleazy titles. Those are not a part of the TCA library. They're going over to the house. But thank you for that. So Nora Roberts goes over there, A Seagull Crying goes over there. So these are not included over here.
More Tom Clancy. Some of All Fears. I watched the film. It's about nuclear holocaust. The White House gets bombed and things go haywire.
Of course they do. Oh, the James Lee Burke collection. So this guy apparently is a crime fiction author. I only bought it because of the name. So I don't know this dude. We will have an individual review of the lad. Maybe one of these days.
The Friendless Guy. It's got dogfights and all.
World War One era dogfights. Fancy. And Terry Treaty's two stories. Monster horror. Ooh. Actually, we'll do this in October. Let's do this in
Guy
October.
who wrote horrible histories. Bridge on the River Kwai. I have the DVD of the film, but neither have I seen the film.
So
It's
that's
a
our.
story of the world. I think it's from World War II.
It is from World War II. It's actually set on the actual River Kwai death bridges that they built. The what do you call it? Those the Japanese forced the British Indian Army to build over there, and all the army that they caught over in that case. So definitely something to consider. But this leads us over to a major aspect. We need to update our database over here. So it's definitely something that.
sort of books as well.
Oh, they're already sorted. This is as close as we could get in.
How do you reach what books are after that? Especially the ones
Just this, literally.
that.
Just reach out. This is as far as they go. You know, this.
What is communism?
What is communism?
I'm going to issue that. Can I issue that?
Why would I issue this to you? No, Mr. President.
Why?
Because you were a former communist. You should know what communism is. But we're going to toss all these books over here just because we covered them. There. The best part is that all these books are now publicly available. Oh, yes. These books need to be taken out because they're actually pretty solid stuff. These two books, which I was talking about, David Carnadine's Orientalism, How the British Saw Their Empire, and Edward W. Said's Orientalism, Western Conceptions of the Orient. Definitely important in the context of understanding the Indian subcontinent. The video which came out, the very basic video, which is like the basis of all of the Indian subcontinent era books. We'll talk about these as well. But Let's head back over to a very basic issue that we are going to have. No, yeah, basically. So we got plenty of books that you could see over here, and the fact of the matter is, we'll need to set up a database because, as the president rightly points out, he mentions a book, and I say no, we don't have it, even though we do have it, and then I need to search through all of them. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Other books like GAT or anything?
GAT, not really. So we're actually going to be working out on that particular aspect. It is definitely something that we have taken into account as necessity, because we mentioned that we have around 2,500 to 3,000 books, but they need to be put into an Excel thing, such that they're like not an Excel, like an access, such that they're done. What?
Yeah, more on tests, like other tests.
Or if you want to do other tests, National Book Foundation is your best friend. Or even downstairs, just head on downstairs, they've got CSS related books at Book Junction. There's a new bookstore that opened downstairs for textbooks, so I'm just suggesting to the president that he can go over there as well. And we're going to have more individual reviews tossed in. At least that way we are able to keep on getting our stuff. We got a new shelf added in, and that small short, which we'll be showing off over here later onwards, in which it shows all our books in it. That's definitely an overall improvement in the book. It's definitely a lot neater now when you take into account that it used to be rushed, you know. This place used to be properly cramped back in the day.
Wasn't this room the
No, see, it used to have a bigger table.
We had a different room.
No, it's the same room. It's the same room.
Is it the same room where we filmed?
Next door. Oh, that was the institute. That was right at the end.
I remember it.
Oh yeah, it's got all the computers in it now. That room actually even has your nanny's newspaper article there. That should go over here though. Considering this is like the TCA whole thing, it should come over on this side.
See how the office has changed?
Minor changes, like that has become the full institute. Right next to it is now the accounts and admin officers room, and this is ours. Basically, this is later onwards going to become like the comms head office with TCA, yeah. And TCA is just going to be one of those entities that provides a sort of substantiation of effort to it. So it definitely is one of those benefits to have all things considered. You might, yeah.
And there's something like stamina as well.
Yeah, it takes a lot of stamina to finish the GRE.
How long is it?
3.5 to 4 hours.
Fast exam, 3 hours long.
No, it actually takes a lot of stamina out of you.
Is it all MCQs?
4 hours of MCQs and essays and everything. बल्कि 4.5 तक हो जाता है all things
It's the
considered.
same as SAT.
Slightly, the principle is the same as SAT, but it's a little more top heavy.
Yesterday was something like a long event. Like during sections of the test, they would actually send you out of the hall just for taking a break.
Yeah, that's
For
the
a
same
few
here.
minutes, and then they'd ask you to come back.
Oh yeah, it's the same here.
But the problem there was you had the same question paper. They didn't take the question papers back for each section. So most kids would just go back to the previous section and just fix their mistakes. Because it was done with the pencil, not the pen.
Oh, अब electronic है. अब electronic है, तो you don't waste time with pencils and such.
SAT when I was back in 2015.
Oh, I gave my SAT back in 2010. I gave this in 2014. 2014.
For Germany?
Yeah,
You think so?
2014. Yeah.
You need GRE for Germany as well?
GRE actually gives you additional points in Germany. But in reality, you don't need it anywhere. There are courses which don't even mandate that you have it.
You need GRE for ISP in Pakistan.
But anyway.
I think you need GRE for LUMS as well.
LUMS, sorry. NUMS is awesome.
LUMS is a management university.
But they have a computers department.
They have a sciences department as well. I've heard the sciences department is okay because it's not meant for sciences.
It's alright. Most people go over to LUMS just to get married to the local chicks there. They only see it as girl hunting, bird hunting, quite literally. It's Tinder.
Tinder, but for rich people.
Tinder, but for rich people.
Rich
Some
people.
go there for sugar mamas. Like Daddy Dearest has a lot of money, so I can bump up my route. Dude, stop being a fucking incel. Work your way up.
Incels don't go to schools for chicks.
They do. Simp incels.
Incels means involuntary celibate.
They say involuntary celibate, but in reality, they're just as horny as other assholes.
Aren't we all horny?
Yeah, exactly. But no one's dedicated to books in general. Think about it. How many libraries are there in the system if you think about it? Like, I can count for the fact that there are at least, there was one reading hall which I mentioned over here. There's this library, there's the library over on the cantonment side.
National Library.
The National Library, yeah. You can't read books in the National Library.
No, they have old art pages,
But you need permission, you need proper permission in order to get them. So,
there's an army library.
but the Army Library doesn't allow non-Army personnel. It is permanently banned for non-Army personnel.
They had pages from a book removed and placed a wooden block inside.
Oh, that was the Punjab Public Library.
Yeah, wooden block.
But I think that the best way to just preserve them is eventually what we plan on doing is once we have enough money, we'll start scanning all the pages of books that we have from British India, you know? Preserve those because there's no record of them anywhere. If we don't preserve them, they're lost to time. We'll work on that. That's something we plan on doing. We planned on doing it before, but we just didn't have a stenograph machine.
Pakistan people usually don't want to visit national.
Other issues. So
Other protests in between.
so now we're just going to be stopping our thing, like and
We
subscribing.
call it a podcast.
Well, this is a podcast for sure. So like and subscribe and support the cause and take care. Bye.